Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us today. We want to present to you about how to recruit and adopt mentors for your team, and not necessarily just for your team, but you can also use mentors for other things as well too. Like if you have other competitions in your club or class, you can also use these resources to recruit mentors. So we want to start off by doing introductions. I'm Beatrice Prieto. I'm the MESA College Director at Fresno State in California. So Fresno is located right in the middle of the Central Valley of California. Luis, do you want to introduce yourself?
Of course. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Luis Topete. I am the MESA College Prep Director at San Diego State, and I am housed in Southern California.
So just some items that we want to go over today. Here's the agenda. We want to go over recruiting mentors. How do you recruit mentors for your program or club or for your team? How do you maximize the mentor involvement? Highlighting the different areas to utilize your mentors, and then recommendations to develop and improve school-mentor relationship.
And just a quick note, this PowerPoint will be available for you in the folder that we will be sharing towards the end. So don't worry about screenshots or anything like that. We will have a PDF available for you to have as well.
So let's chat it up for a while. We just want you guys to enter into the chat what state you're from, if you're a middle school or high school level, and then if you're a teacher or staff, and then how many years you've been involved in NEDC, if it's your first year, or how many years you've been involved with it, and then if you've ever utilized any mentors before. We would love to hear that. And since we have only 3 participants, if you want to unmute yourself and just let us know, that would be great too.
Excellent. Okay. We definitely see New Mexico, Rhode Island, excellent. And just to add to the note, we've put a lot of these resources based on our experiences and those of our colleagues as well. Both B and I have had many years pretty much having or hosting NEDC teams, so we really do hope that that all this becomes very useful for you, and just know that we didn't prepare this just to kind of share and recommend all these things without having a set of resources for you. So keep in mind that these were created to help you recruit mentors, and that these resources were designed with relationship building in mind. So we really do hope that these are helpful and that you have all the tools necessary to implement.
And Caitlin and Jacob, if any time you have any questions, just go ahead and unmute yourself and let us know your question. So let's begin by how can you recruit mentors? So a good way to recruit mentors is your local industry. You can always, there's always some engineering firms or even some agriculture firms or anything locally in your industry, in your city, that you can recruit mentors. That would be great, since they have a lot of knowledge. So that would be great. Student organizations as well too. So I know a lot of you guys work with a lot of the universities. So tapping into those university, the student organizations, the engineering, for example, our college has the NESB, which is the National Science Black Engineers, as well as the Honor Society of Tau Beta Pi. So they're all engineering honors students. And then we have the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers. And these are all undergraduate engineer students. So we usually use them as mentors. just because they're already undergrad students, they've taken engineering courses, they've done college papers, they've done presentations, and so they always work really good as serving as mentors. Another great resources is always former alumni, because they've already done the process. Like you can even have high school students serve mentors for your middle school students, since some of them have already done the projects. They know what are the requirements, so they're really good to serve as mentors as well too.
And if I may add, just a reminder, we understand that teachers are also technically mentors to their teams, and we have a lot of teams that they really connect with their teachers, and there's fantastic resources coming from that advisor. But with that, knowing that, we want to make sure that you do connect with that STEM community that you have around you. If like B said, alumni, student orgs, or local industry, to kind of assist in pretty much supporting your team. Teachers are very busy, and if there's a way that we can help you connect with that STEM community, even better, right? It only enhances the experience for the students.
So we have created some documents here for you that you can use to send out either social media looking for mentors, or a simple flyer that you can send to student organizations or somebody in your community. We have even also created an email template that you can just copy and paste, and you can send it to any mentors that you feel would be helpful to you. So we've put in there like just what you need to fill out. So that way you can just copy it, paste it, fill out the information that you need for your team, or for whatever you need the mentors for, and then you can send that out to them. And we've the posting social media, we've created different flyers as well too, to kind of fit your needs as well too. Anything to add, Luis?
I think one of the main things, and maybe it's just to frame how we're presenting these components, is that what we're presenting here when it comes to these mentors and how to utilize them can be represented by 3 segments, right? We have the first segment, which is recruitment, which B just mentioned, how to recruit mentors and the tools that we've created that can benefit you in that process. And so the second one would be collaboration. And then the last segment of this presentation would be follow-up. And I just wanted to highlight that as we go into the next segment. So that's what I wanted to share.
So the next segment is collaborate with your mentors. So this is the role of a mentor. So what we are looking as a mentor, provide guidance and advice and feedback to support the mentees. So we really want them to help them out, not so much build the project and do the coding for them, but we want them to guide them and give them advice and give them feedback that's going to help improve their projects for the students. So this is what we want from a mentor. So we've created this mentor guide. It's a 1-pager guide of responsibilities that when you have already found your mentor, that you can send them this or searching for a mentor, that you can just send them the simple guide that tells them what are their responsibilities, as well as an overview of area support. So they're just really basic, that we try to make them related to the NEDC competition. So a lot of it is just like give them feedback, constructive feedback, because that's more what they need of anything. Challenge the team of the thinking process and pose questions to help them with their design. And then more important, have regular meetings with them. That's kind of important, so they just can tell them what their process is in regards to their competition. And then be active listeners as well, to kind of listen to what their needs are and then be able to give them feedback on that.
I'll also add that, in many cases, when talking to mentors or trying to pull a mentor in to a team, there's a lot of times these let's say an industry member already does this. They're already mentors for other students, other teams, and so they might not need a lot of the specifics. The mentor guide would still be very valuable, just so they can get a snippet of what the National Engineering Design Competition is all about. They can know what they're expected to do or provide, and but I know that this mentor guide would be very valuable, especially for someone like maybe a new industry member, a student organization with potential students that are interested in mentoring, but they don't know what to expect. This is the perfect guide to give them a snippet of everything. And we know that when it comes to the STEM community, from industry down to the students, the culture is to be resourceful and look up online and see what they can do to prepare. We've created this with the goal to do just that, but in the lens for NEDC. So it's kind of like, by sharing this really does give them a great insight to what to expect and how to also approach the team.
So we've also included in that one pager the overview areas of support that we feel that are more needed for the NEDC project. So those are like the technical skills, the writing skills, the presentation skills, the fine-tuning, data collection, and building prototype. So we kind of listed on there what we feel are needed. So we definitely need somebody who is knowledge in programming languages, since the NEDC does require the students to have some kind of coding embedded in their competition, into their project or prototype. So we feel that it's important that they do have a mentor that can have some of that coding programming knowledge. So we listed like Python, JavaScript, C++, and then somebody who can be able to debug it for them. So not writing the code for them, but somebody who can maybe help them get started, to giving them like maybe resources of where you can learn this project, or maybe even teach them how to program, but more importantly, debug as well their program as well. And somebody who's also knowledge in hardware, if they know Arduino or any app development, or like website development, or even using the Raspberry Pi, since the students can use those, it would be great for somebody to have a mentor that has those. The writing skills. So because the students have to do the design brief and the poster board, it's important that they are able to have those poster boards and the design brief proofread as well too. So grammatical errors and syntax errors. So that can be either an English teacher or an English undergrad student as well too. So we gave you these areas of support so you can see that if the team wants to have more than one mentor, these are the areas that they would need a mentor in. So presentation skills, this could be somebody like a business student who does a lot of pitches as well too, like elevator pitches, just to kind of help them with the prototype pitch, just because the prototype pitch and the technical presentation are two different presentations. Again, the prototype pitch is more of an elevator pitch, and the technical is more of telling the students, how they did the engineering design process, and using their poster board and using their engineering notebook, while the elevator pitch is just telling them, who their clients are and how their prototype works with it. So having a business student or anybody who does presentations can really help with the presentation skills. Fine tuning, like if you've had previous high school students who've done the NEDC competition and now you have a middle school team, this would be a good person to have, because they are really familiar with the rubrics. And so because they're familiar with the rubrics, they can tell them, oh, you're still missing this from the rubric. Make sure that it's included in either your poster board or your design brief, or in your technical interview. So those would be good persons to do the fine tuning. The data collection. So a lot of the students really don't have a lot of the data collection. Like they'll meet with their client and then they'll say, oh, we met the need of the client, but it has to go above, more and beyond than that. And you have to have various clients to be able to get a good data collection, and you have to do it over and over again. So not just meet with the client one time, show them the project and be like, okay, we got their we got their advice, and so we're going to go with that. No, you have to meet with them over and over and do different experiments with them to make sure that you have enough data collection. And the prototyping would be somebody who can help them with the design process, kind of aid them with the schematics as well too, like somebody who knows AutoCAD that can help them for the schematic board. Luis, do you have anything to add?
Yes. One of the biggest things that we understand is that uh, at this point, we might be talking about several mentors, right? But the students are surrounded by this network. It could be their teachers at their school site. Sometimes we've been very lucky. I've been very fortunate where the team does have a mentor that actually feels very comfortable with all these areas of support. So they do handle most of this, and the students don't need several. Now, uh, we don't want to put these up here and say these are the only areas of support, because we can go more general with these areas of support. We can go more specific, and so these are just listed on areas that what we've seen, what we kind of recommend, and if anything, help you pretty much bring in a mentor, because once seeing a list of details, they can say, hey, I feel extremely confident with these areas of support. I know I can contribute this to the team. And when it comes to a lot of times with mentors, just giving them the rules are not 3 pages long. The rules are definitely several pages long, and as engineers, let's say if they're in industry, they will sit down and read and try to really um, prepare to talk with the team. But by these resources that we're giving, and also listing some of the areas of support, I think we're probably helping the mentor prepare and also be able to use their time efficiently to create those relationships with the team, and help them just improve their project.
So we've also created a mentees checklist. So what is expected for the mentees? So when we mean mentees, we mean the team. So what's expected from the team to have? And so most importantly is to be able to accept the feedback. I tell you this because in the previous years, when we've had some NEDC teams and we've had mentors with them, they were not willing to hear the feedback. So that's very, very important, because the mentors are taking the time to come and help these students out with their NEDC projects. So we have to be respectful to them. And so we have to really emphasize to the students that the feedback is welcomed. Don't be negative about the feedback. Take the feedback, say thank you very much. We will take your feedback in consideration, and then take that feedback and then see what you can use from that feedback. We understand that sometimes the feedback can be negative, but we really don't want to let the mentors know, unless there's really an issue that it's always negative feedback, then maybe the teacher wants to step in at that time and then maybe have a meeting with the mentor and the mentees. But in this checklist, we've also put in like kind of what you want to take to your first meeting. So we have put on there that you really want to take goals. So you want the team to first meet and then have them see what their focus is going to be for the NEDC competition. And again, if they haven't come up with the focus, then maybe it's asking the mentor, we're kind of interested in this, but we don't know how to approach it. And maybe the mentor at that point can help them out. But having the mentees go in with some understanding of what they want to focus on, so they don't waste their time, because again, the mentors are probably in industry or undergrad students that have homeworks, or they have their job, and we don't want to waste their time. So going in there with some goals, and then what we want first meeting. So how do we want the mentor to help us out? And we do have a sample agreement as well too, that Luis will talk about later in the presentation, that we also want to present to the mentors on our first meeting as well too. Luis, anything to add?
Yes, you can also change me to the next slide, since we kind of combined. B talks about the mentees, the teams, and providing the responsibilities and how to approach it, primarily because we want to make sure that the mentor has a great experience. And I'm not saying that when it comes to our MESA students are definitely understanding, and it's not like we're having these issues, but it's very important to have that mutual understanding of what to expect from both parties, the teacher. And so for that reason, we do have some sample agreements to be able to showcase with you. And we understand that with all this projects, yes, they might be shooting for first place. They might be shooting for to win their local region. There's a lot of reasons why the students do this, but we understand that the relationship between a mentor and the team is the most valuable outcome with these types of STEM experiences. It really just enhances the outcomes. They're able to develop their STEM identity, their confidence, and most importantly, as mentioned, those soft skills are actually being applied. They're not just sitting in a presentation and learning about some soft skills that they have to do. They're actually practicing and getting this mentor to provide that feedback. And so it's very important. It's definitely a life skill. And so we want to maximize that opportunity and that possibility of just having that enhanced experience. So that's why we have these sample agreements. And we understand that the students needs to definitely discuss kind of what their strengths are. You will see that on this actual agreement about putting down their strengths, their skills, and seeing who's going to lead what. I will say that while we're not covering it in this presentation, there's a little bit of overlap with our other workshop that's being presented after this, the session 2, when it comes to saving time when doing this NEDC project. So it's a very time management focused workshop, and you'll see that the material there highlights different areas about knowing how the students should approach their time and the mentor's time. So that's why there's different parts here for the agreement. And I'm going to be highlighting it in a second, but these resources aren't meant for you not to adapt, right? If you like an area, you take that area, you copy it and implement it. So just know that. Yes, there's 4 parts here, but if you see that there's some areas that are not needed, maybe like a signature or maybe some of the other logistics because you're handling those, then so be it. But it's better to have more for you to work with than less. And but we've seen, and you might be asking also, why an agreement? Maybe this is your first time with an NEDC team or not, but when it comes to teachers, what happens when there's teams, when teams are working with to the same outcome. I've had experience where a team, by the second time that they're literally working together, they're fighting. And so it requires to actually go out to the school side, sit down with the team, talk about it. It really is about trying to clear up this miscommunication. A lot of times it's about a student not doing their part, right? So this is the reason why these agreements are here, to hopefully really build in that skill about saying, what's expected from me and how are my skills contributing. So then if there's a student that does not come around, is not submitting their deadlines, then there's a way to now hold a team accountable. If it's not a team, it's at least a team member. And it happens, working with students, there's a lot of stuff happening at home, but at the same time, it also requires students and a team to learn that sometimes it's okay to just say, unfortunately, I can't continue because I cannot meet this agreement at this point. It happens. We've had a team member shift. So that's why we have an agreement in place, to just create some type of framework to help with that discussion. But it's definitely a fantastic life skill to have. And so anything to add, B?
No, I just agree. Just to give you an example, we did have one team actually make it to state finals. And it was, I think, during a time that there was a college football game, or I don't know, an NFL game. and one of the team members was not able to make it, and we require the students that have to be there to do the technical presentation and the poster presentation. All the team members need to be there. So that one member, their parents decided to take them to the college game or the football game, and so they couldn't be there. And I said, well, I apologize. I'm like, you know the rules, you had to be there. I'm like, so if your team member's not there, it's disqualification. You knew the deadlines, you knew everything. So what I'm trying to get to is this sample agreement is going to help set those deadlines ahead of time. So even the parents know that, you know, these deadlines are here and we have to be there at those presentations. So we cannot schedule anything. So that way the parents know and the teachers know and the students know that these deadlines are set and they have to be there. The only time that we excuse a student is if there is an illness or a death. And then you do have to bring, sometimes we do require them to bring a note saying that, you know, they're ill, or, you know, because of COVID, it's changed a lot as well too, you know, you have to bring a positive test to us just so we know that you're not faking it. But again, this sample agreement will really help set those deadlines.
Okay. Now for our last segment is the follow-up. And I know we're discussing different steps that you're very much probably that are well known. And when it comes to recruiting, and when it comes to implementing and pushing that collaboration with the team and a mentor, maybe not for NEDC, but for another setting, another project, but we still wanted to go over it and highlight that and share the resources that we've created, primarily because we understand that it's a lot of work. And so we can go to the next slide. Excuse me. We also recommend to, once all this experiences happen, probably through the spring, probably leading into June, for example, because this team actually got to nationals and they're excited, but now they've just realized we have to pretty much revamp our project again to now head into this competition. That relationship with the mentor will be critical. And so the time that they've given, we do see that the importance to be able to follow up with them afterwards with a thank you letter, a post survey. But before I go into that, I do want to highlight that we do have our resources listed here. They're linked, but you can also find them through this QR code that's here. I believe post this winter convening, you will be getting a link, I believe, to all the resources for all the workshops, but we are just giving you direct access as well for you to use. These are customizable, so once you download them, you can go ahead and use them as you like. And I think we're giving you a framework and for you to decide how to use those as you like. And so going back to the follow-up, the thank you, the post survey, we can go to the next slide. We do definitely recommend, and you probably already do this, but we're just mentioning it, that it's important to definitely ask the team how they want to probably thank them. A thank you letter works just fine. If you see here on the right-hand side, a lot of times when we do our thank yous, we do push for the team picture to be there. That is my team that's on there, and I asked them if I can use their picture for this template. And so as you see, it's an NEDC team based thank you letter that can easily be shared. Industry members like to share that with their bosses, right? Their managers, their directors. We definitely do recommend maybe a token of appreciation, even if it's small. If you have access to maybe like a school t-shirt or some type of mug, whatever it may be, that works out. But even if you don't have that kind of funding, getting a picture of the team with their mentor, framing it, and then putting thank you signatures around it is very valuable. It has probably more value than probably a mug. So, but we just want to make sure to share that with you in different ways for you to be able to follow up with them. The post survey is there as well, which you will be given. You have these questions listed out to definitely open that door for I guess enhancing the experience for the mentor. With a lot of these resources, we want to make sure that the mentor is using their time, or they feel, right? They feel that their time is being utilized well. And so it's definitely asking them, do you think your time was well spent? You know, usually it's always a yes, but it's always very important to still ask and collect that information, and really give them that opportunity to help you tweak future involvement. And so that's why, if we also go to the next slide, that's why we want to make sure that we leave it there and have it there for you to use. You can use one question, two questions, or it can just be part of the email. We tend to do a lot of Google Forms, maybe an overboard of Google Forms, but just wanted to showcase that to you. And something that we also tend to do, and something that I had mentioned about directors and managers of different companies, they really enjoy when they get a link to like, let's say, a landing page, and if you can click play. So definitely motivating the school to be able to post up, but maybe their bio and a thank you. Anything and everything is helpful. Social media posts, of course, very helpful. But a lot of times when I'm able to confirm a mentor, I ask them for the bio, their title, and a picture from the get-go. So I'm not looking for it afterwards, to just already know that I'm preparing something to highlight them, either for the whole year or specifically for NEDC. Whatever it may be, I know that it's a value for them, and especially for them to be able to direct their managers, or they're giving them time on the side for them to be involved. And so we just wanted to end with that note saying, you know, very important, very recommended, and resources are there for you to be able to use as well. So with that being said, any questions that anyone has? You can write in the chat. You can also unmute yourself. You know, we've probably went through the material. We can always go into more detail, but I think for just the general information and the 3 segments and our recommendations and all the resources, I think that we've captured enough of the information for you to either launch a new mentorship program, enhance it, or based on your experience. You know, we you know, you can also write in the chat for us, because we like to update. We ask our colleagues as well. We've used their own experience when it comes to this, and B has had teams pretty much every year at nationals. B, can you confirm?
Not every year, because UC Irvine usually takes some as well too. So it's kind of like we're back and forth with UC Irvine and
Yeah. But you definitely have the experience and fantastic mentors. And so we just tried to wrap that up in a kit, like a communication kit for you. And again, that QR code that's on there is the QR code for that same folder with everything. And you'll also be able to find the PowerPoint as well, in a PDF format in there as well.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. I found that really helpful, actually, because I was like trying to figure out how to get mentors to help my group out with some of these things that I may not necessarily have the skills in yet, because I'm a first-year teacher. It's my first year doing all this stuff with MESA and with the STEM program. My
Absolutely.
background's in environmental science, so I'm not a complete stranger to the field, but it's good to have the support.
100%. And we completely understand that there's some teachers out there that have been doing this for years, and they probably do all this in a different method. And so we're glad to hear that, you know, you do see some value in this, because you're right, maybe there's some areas that you're not too familiar with, or not yet at least, because we always say that first year of MESA is always an accelerated course of everything and anything that's MESA.
Right. I've learned so much about computer programming and like the engineering process and everything like that, that like my brain is like swimming in HTML. I don't know.
I'm hopeful that it's even though it's still there and it's processing, it always clicks. You know, it always clicks at the end of the year, and sometimes it's just about getting through it, and you know, even with minor hiccups. And you know, luckily though, that's why the NEDC committee has come together to create a lot of these resources to help and avoid those hiccups, right? Because it happens, and we understand that teachers have plenty to do. So, definitely let us know. You have our emails are on here, so if you want a little bit more insight on a specific area, or even further elaboration, and even if you have another idea for us to add to this, please email us.
Awesome. I'll be sure to do that.
Yes,
Yes.
we're happy
Take a
to
picture
create
of
it.
the emails just so I wouldn't lose them.
We're happy to create it for you because we understand you guys are so overwhelmed, and it shouldn't be you guys creating this. It should be us creating these resources for you. So let us know what you need to help you with your first year. Now, Kaylin, is it your first year as an advisor, but the school had a previous teacher, or is this the first time your school is actually having the MESA program?
I think that the school had a previous teacher before me that was a MESA advisor.
Oh, okay,
But they moved.
got it.
It's my first year doing everything.
Okay,
Yes.
well,
Yeah.
you know who might be able to help you are students then. Some former students that were in the program previously might be able to help you as well as to serve as mentors, because if some of them have already done the competition, or maybe just kind of like looked at it, started it, and maybe just didn't complete it for what reason, but they might be able to help you as well too as service mentors as well, because we've had some students here that's what's happened, that we have a new teacher, but for some reason the teacher left, but the students step in and help the teacher kind of start their program as well too, and help the other students as well, serve kind of as mentors to help the students with their projects as well too. So that may be a good thing to do for you, to tap into those students to see if there's any students that were in the program previously that may be able to help you.
Mm-hmm.
Good idea. That'll give me a good starting place. I've been trying to figure out how to organize them to do the competition. Some of them don't work well together in groups in my classes, and so they have to be on like separate teams maybe. So yeah, it'll be interesting.
Very. Any other thoughts, recommendations?
Can't really think of too much except about how to go about finding a good person to interview maybe. So there's like this client that we're talking about, and we have to interview them and figure out their needs. We practiced this in my STEM class a little bit. We interviewed the person who sits next to us in class to find out something that they would think would be an ideal pet. So we kind of practiced it a little bit. And then we tried to design a pet with microbits. But where would we find someone in the community maybe? Could that be also our mentor, or should we look elsewhere for this person?
That could be someone in your community. So it just all depends what your focus is going to be for your NEDC. It just depends what you're going to focus on, because it can be somebody within your community. It could be like a boys and girls club. It could be at a health clinic. It could be at a food pantry. So it really just depends what the focus is going to be. Do you happen to have already a focus? Like, does the team have a focus?
No, I don't think the team has a focus right now. We're kind of taking a break right before the holidays because they're doing testing and their brains are just tired.
Okay.
Of course.
Yeah. So if they don't have a focus, maybe just still brainstorming like open-ended questions for them, just kind of like what do they want out of the project? Like what it could be anything, like anything out of this world, but just putting it down on paper, and then maybe from there, getting an idea and then just building from that idea. And then from there, you'll be able to find, what kind of clients you're going to need.
I'll also share, just echoing what B just said. One year I had a team truly focusing on, and I can't remember the specific, but it was something with the city. I can't remember if it was the water or something in that realm. They decided, after kind of like figuring out what exactly they were going to do, to then contact the city. and they actually went and they organized this themselves. They went to go talk to some city, I think it was the board members. They directed them over to a different department, and they kind of became their mentors. Student led, you know, these were high school students, of course. So they were doing this all, but it was focused in on the community. So once they knew what they were doing, the mentors naturally were able, they stepped in. I don't think they asked for mentors, but the city members, I think they were the engineers specifically for the city, said if they need any help, you know, email me, and they absolutely did follow up. And then the city board members ended up inviting them to present on their project to everybody. So just, you know, these relationships are natural, and we didn't mention that natural relationship building that happened. It already happens, and it's, I think if you're kind of fine tuning how to direct that invitation for a mentor, just see how your students are interacting with potentially someone like a client, because the client can end up maybe being directing you to other mentors. So so definitely very possible, and but knowing where your students are kind of leaning towards when it comes to their project is helpful too.
Awesome. Yeah, so it sounds like we got to really narrow down what we're going to focus on for our projects, and then we'll go out in search of a client in the community and see what we want to do about a problem and solving that. Should be
Absolutely.
a lot of fun, actually.
Definitely NEDC, it's definitely a very transformative project, and so the outcomes and the experience and everything truly becomes something that they don't forget. And one of my staff members is actually B's student from back from Fresno, and so she's actually going to be presenting in our next workshop, but the she remembers all that. She remembers all the you know, just the components and everything. Of course, there was a different project back then, but still, she remembers this project specifically because there's a lot to do, but with that comes a lot of memories and a lot of skills that she still uses and references now.
That's great. Thanks for the help, you guys.
Of course.
Yeah, I was just
Absolutely.
looking for good starting points and everything, because
Yeah, this was, oh, sorry.
yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say this was a really helpful seminar for me as well, because I was
Good to
uncertain
hear.
about a lot of the mentor process.
Absolutely. I think if anything, it's daunting. You know, there's just a lot of components, and you want to be strategic, but at the same time, you don't want to seem robotic in trying to invite someone in to help the students. But removing some of those barriers of just even what to expect and what to look for, I think it really just helps with you assisting the students to be able to confirm a mentor for them for the year.
All right, well, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for the feedback. Appreciate it. And again, that QR code and also the link that will be shared post this winter convening will have all these resources available. And of course, our emails are there. So with that being said, you'll have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, you have a meal break in between, and then the next workshop should be starting at 1:15 Mountain Time, 12:15 Pacific Time, or yeah. So thank you so much.
Take care.